This is macOS Ken.
Top takeaways from Apple's year that was, a fix and a flaw for Monterey, and a couple of moves in mobile gaming. It is Monday, the 8th of November, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home. Get 40% off your new home security system by visiting simplisafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Ladder, smart, dynamic term life insurance. Buying a house, sending a child or two to college, paying off your own student debt. These are all things you may want or need to do. No doubt you can if nothing goes wrong, but what if something does? You don't want to leave your kids or your partner with financial issues you're not there to handle. That's why people get life insurance, especially term coverage, which is surprisingly affordable. Why not pay a bit each month to protect the ones you love? If you're asking yourself this question, choose Ladder. When you go through Ladder, everything happens online. No doctors, no needles, and no paperwork when you apply for $3 million in coverage or less. That said, if you want to talk to someone, Ladder has a team of licensed agents who don't work on commission. They're there to help, not to upsell. And it really couldn't be simpler. Going through the initial screening took me less time than you'll spend listening to today's show. So go to ladderlife.com/macOSKen today to see if you are instantly approved. LADDER, that's ladderlife.com/macOSKen. ladderlife.com/macOSKen. In our hot take on what happened 10 seconds ago world, the fact that Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani seems to have taken a full week to pull pertinent points from Apple's fiscal year 2021 annual report is kind of refreshing. Philip Elmer DeWitt's Apple 3.0 ran A to the D's top takeaways from the Apple report. Among those, off-balance sheet purchase commitments indicate continued strong demand for Apple gear in his estimation. The top drivers in growth for Apple services are advertising first, then App Store and cloud services. It is the first time ever for ads in the top spot. Operating margins were up everywhere Apple does business. And finally, outside regulation, specifically the Digital Markets Act out of the EU, could mean trouble for the App Store. Quoting his summation, purchase commitments remain elevated, likely pointing to continued strength in the face of supply challenges spanning the hardware lineup. While Apple is not immune from supply challenges, we view their purchase commitments as indicative of strength to come. Operating margin expansion across regions was another key bright spot in the quarter, and capital returned to shareholders remained elevated. Daryanani has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $180. Last week, JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee saw slightly shortened lead times for iPhone 13, indicating improvements in the supply chain. This week, those times have not budged. iPhone 13's static delivery estimates hint at robust demand, reads the headline from Apple Insider. With very minor variations, the piece has the analyst seeing the same basic wait times for iPhone 13 this week, coming in almost exactly the same as this time last week. What does it mean? Who can say for certain? Quoting Apple Insider, it is reckoned the iPhone 13 range continues to be well ahead across all models than the iPhone 12 generation, writes Chatterjee. However, this may be driven by supply constraints. That last part about supply constraints was also from Chatterjee. He's got a buy rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $180. If your Intel-based Mac was bricked in the move to Monterey, good news. Apple has an update that should fix it. 9to5 Mac highlights a statement from Apple explaining what happened. That had the company saying, "We have identified and fixed an issue with the firmware on the T2 security chip that prevented a very small number of users from booting up their Mac after updating macOS. The updated firmware is now included with the existing macOS updates." To prevent this problem from occurring to additional users, 9to5Mac says, Apple has rolled out an updated version of the Bridge OS firmware that runs on the T2 security chip. What does this do for folks who have been affected already? Well, nothing. Their computers are bricked. Folks who have been impacted by this issue can contact Apple support for assistance, according to Apple's statement. In the vein of someone never closing a thing without opening another thing, it seems we can't hear of something with our Macs being fixed without news of something else breaking. Sort of an offshoot of Murphy's Law, maybe. Mac Rumors says some owners of Apple's latest Macs are seeing problems trying to see high-quality video on YouTube. A few Mac Rumors readers complain of kernel errors trying to watch HDR YouTube videos and doing something else at the same time. One says watching videos and simultaneously scrolling the comments presents the problem. Another says closing full-screen playback of YouTube 4K HDR video in Safari causes their M1 Pro 16-inch MacBook Pro to completely shut down and reboot. Yet another says they're getting the same full-screen to crash issue in both Safari and Chrome. The issue seems to be affecting at least some folks running Monterey 12.0.1 on Apple's latest laptops. There is hope that 12.1 may fix the issues. The same Mac Rumors piece has users indicating improved video performance under the latest Monterey beta. More news in a moment, but first a word from SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home. If you have ever wanted to make your home feel safer, there is no better time than now. This week, the folks at SimpliSafe are giving macOS Ken listeners 40% off their award-winning home security. I like SimpliSafe because it has everything you need to make your home safe. Indoor and outdoor cameras, comprehensive sensors, all monitored around the clock by trained professionals who send help the moment you need it. I like that they let you get just the items you need for your home. Maybe you're good on cameras but need window and door sensors. Maybe you're good on those but want to add a flood sensor. Whatever you choose, installation is a breeze. My sensors, base station, and keypad took less than an hour to install. All of that, and right now, huge savings. These are SimpliSafe's biggest discounts of the year. You can get a complete home security system starting at just over $100 with no long-term commitments or contracts. Safety and simplicity, that's SimpliSafe. Take advantage of SimpliSafe's holiday sale and get 40% off your new home security system by visiting simplisafecom/macOSKen. SIMPLI. Again, that's simplysafe.com/macOSKen for 40% off your entire system. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Work on Project Titan continues, and Apple has a new worker working on it. Project Titan is thought to have been Apple's code name for its car initiative. Apple Insider highlights a Bloomberg report that says Christopher C.J. Moore has left Tesla for a turn behind Apple Car's theoretical wheel. I say theoretical because, as Apple Insider points out, Apple has never actually officially acknowledged working on a car. Boy, wouldn't that be funny? If you follow the self-driving thing at all, you may know Moore's name. According to Apple Insider, the former Tesla engineer drew controversy earlier in 2021 for remarks about the Tesla autopilot feature. Specifically, Moore implied that Tesla CEO Elon Musk had overstated autopilot's capabilities. And now he's not there anymore. Go figure. Moore will apparently work on autonomous driving software for the Cupertino company. He'll answer to Stuart Bowers, another former Tesla exec, who now works for Apple. While I tend to dip in and out of Apple Arcade, I will likely be spending a bit of time there this coming weekend. The Mac Observer says Galaga Wars Plus is headed to Apple's game service. According to the game's description, the galaxy is at stake. Fire up the engines and destroy endless waves of aliens in a shower of laser blasts and smoking missiles. Galaga Wars Plus is Bandai Namco's classic arcade shooter game brought to Apple Arcade. With stunning graphics and simple touchscreen controls, Galaga Wars Plus is an exhilarating trip down memory lane for all nostalgic gamers and an instant blast for everyone to enjoy. I was really very bad at most arcade games. Galaga was one of the few where I felt like I could hold my own. I look forward to giving the invaders no quarter while giving my iPhone no quarters. The war should start this Friday. TMO says the game is expected to release on the 12th of November. An odd turn on mobile games from Netflix. 9 to 5 Mac highlights a piece from Bloomberg scribe Mark Gurman's Power On newsletter. That's got Gurman saying that Netflix is basically opening an Apple Arcade for Netflix games in the App Store. When Apple Arcade launched, I remember being confused by the fact that there was no Apple Arcade app. For those who've not used it, to get to Apple Arcade games, you have to go to the App Store, tap the arcade icon at the bottom of the screen, then poke around to find something to play. If you find something you like, you tap Get, and it'll download the game as a separate app, free of ads and in-app purchases and tracking and all the other stuff that often comes with games. Sorta sounds like Netflix games for iOS will work similarly, though with a little bit more friction. According to 9 to 5 Mac, every game included in the Netflix service would be available on the App Store. If it works the way it does on Android, users would download the game or games, then log into their Netflix account to authenticate and start playing. 9 to 5 Mac wonders whether Apple will allow Netflix to show the Games tab that is allowed in the Android app. It's actually kind of hard to see how Apple could disallow that, but there's money and control involved, so who knows? While Netflix has confirmed plans to bring its games to iPhone and iPad, it is unclear when they plan to make that happen, according to the report. And finally today, remember that handwritten letter from Apple co-founder Steve Jobs that was going up for auction? Up it went. Written by Jobs to a friend from high school the day before Jobs' 19th birthday, the letter was interesting for a few reasons. First, it was written a couple of years before Jobs and Woz and Ronald Wayne started Apple. Second, Jobs wrote in the letter about his then upcoming trip to India, one seen as pivotal in his life. Finally, a piece from Mac Daily News says that this is the first letter signed by Jobs ever to go up for auction. That might explain why expectations for the letter were so far off. A piece last month from Apple Must said the letter was expected to fetch between $8,000 and $10,000. Mac Daily News says the letter sold at auction for $500,312. Coming up in a few minutes, Parallel host Shelley Brisbane joins us this week. The ongoing chip shortage is news to her, and she wants to talk about it. Hear us do just that in a few minutes. Find that show and listen wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Ladder, smart, dynamic term life insurance. Learn more at ladderlife.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get 40% off your new home security system by visiting simplysafe.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.